Coming up, we'll give you 5 signs that'll tell you you're overthinking a career decision. And I have a message for those of you who feel shame. We'll take your calls and your chats. It starts right now. Coming to you live from Ramsey Studios in Nashville. You're joining a conversation about who you are, what you were created to do, where you want to do it, and how you can get there. It's all about you. That's right. Why is it all about you? Because you were created to fill a unique role. Now, while you are a multi-dimensional person, think of your relationship roles in life. You were created to work, to contribute through your work. And so that means you are really valuable, even if you don't feel that way today, or you haven't felt that way in a long time. Somebody out there needs you to be you, to show up and work with meaning, because you are contributing a result that makes their life better. And that gives you tremendous significance. So no more with the living for the weekend and being miserable on Monday. We're not cool with that. And we're here for you to help you get clear so that you can get qualified. Get connected so that you can get started. Get promoted so that you can get the dream job, to then work like no one else and give yourself away. Those are the 7 stages. What stage are you in? We're here to help you get through that stage and on to the next and on to the next and on to the next. 844-747-2577. 844-747-2577. Send those chat questions right now next to the video window. Caroline Castrillon wrote a great article for Forbes entitled 5 Signs You're Overthinking a Career Decision. And she could have just said 5 signs you're overthinking. But in the context of this show, this is so valuable. The Journal of Abnormal Psychology says that overthinking can take a serious toll on your well-being. So for those of you who are overthinkers, and I am one of them, so I must confess before we go any further, I tend to overanalyze things, and I am an overthinker. So stepping on my own toes here, I'm sharing this information for me as much as I am for you. It can take a toll on your well-being. It can really affect your mental, emotional wellness. Psychologist Barry Schwartz has coined the phrase paradox of choice. Now, the paradox of choice describes his findings that freedom of choice allows us to achieve, obviously, better results in every area of our lives. But all of the freedom has a downside. It leads to greater indecision, paralysis, and dissatisfaction. So here are 5 signs that will help you be aware, I've locked myself up. I'm overthinking and I'm stuck. Number 1, you ignore your intuition. Boy, we've talked about this a lot on the show. I've talked about this a lot. You got to trust your gut. We now know from science that the gut feeling is actually a thing. Okay? It's not truly just a gut thing. It's your body telling you that what you normally rely on your brain for, the chemicals and everything's, they're firing right now. And they're going, hey, if you got a gut feeling this is good or it's bad, listen to it. So you begin to ignore your intuition. You're overthinking. Number 2, you have a difficult time problem solving. Problems that you previously did not have a hard time with, can't get them done. The 3rd sign is you're afraid of making the wrong choice. This is straight up fear here. You're so consumed with fear over the wrong choice, can't move forward. 4, you've researched your options to death. You've researched it. You got a trapper keeper for all of your options. By the way, there's like a whole generation of people, millennials and below, that have no idea what a trapper keeper is. It's just really a shame. Look it up. It's fantastic. And then finally, you obsess about things beyond your control. Control the controllables. That's all you can do. So instead of focusing on all the things you can't control, focus on what you can't control. That will really begin to help you get unstuck. Really good stuff there. And be aware of these signs, and then have the courage to actually address the problem, not just acknowledge it, but be okay in your wallowing instead of being okay, getting uncomfortable, and moving forward. 844-747-2577 is the phone number. Let's go. Granville, Pennsylvania. Nick is there. Nick, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, Ken, I hope you're doing well today.
I am living the dream, Nick. What's going on?
So I have a question. How do I apply the proximity principle when I am looking for jobs that are not in the same country?
Ooh.
I'm looking for a job in the UK currently, and I do have a friend that lives there, but she knows absolutely no one in the field that I'm in.
Okay. All right. Well, but you do have the friend that's there. Okay. So now we've got a base. All right. What is the field?
I'm a lighting designer.
A lighting designer?
Yes. So I do lighting for like concerts, stage shows, stuff like that.
And you just want to move to the UK because that's where you want to live? You want to do this for a season or the rest of your life?
I want to do it for a season. My fiance wants to attend school in the UK after we're married, and so I want to work there so that way we can, both live and go to school and just be in Europe for the beginning of our marriage.
Man, that's really fun, by the way. I love that. That's really cool. That's a really cool thing. Well, here's a couple things, okay? This is not as complicated as you think it is, all right? So first thing is this. You and your soon-to-be wife, you're both like, hey, let's go do this, right? So she's going to need to get a job as well, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And so presumably you have the opportunity to save some money that would help the transition. Is that correct or incorrect?
Correct.
Okay, great. So I would, if I were you, I think the easiest way to do this is to save up some money that will take care of you for 3 to 6 months when you move over there so that you, as this new married couple, you're not feeling financial stress. I would not move over there until you have 3 to 6 months minimum of expenses, okay? You got your friend on the ground over there who can help you get some information ahead of time on rent and all that kind of stuff, okay? And good places to live, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would plan financially to get on the ground, and then while you're saving up financially here in the States, I would be doing research. In fact, when you get off the phone call, I'd spend about 15, 20 minutes today maybe searching for companies in the UK that are in the general area of where you want to live. Do you understand what I'm saying? And let's just see what's out there. All right? Now, once you do that, I'm totally okay because it's so long distance. I'm totally okay with you reaching out and sending your resume and just saying, hey, I don't know hardly anybody over there yet, but here's what we're doing. We're going to have a fun adventure. I'm a very successful lighting director here in the States. I looked you up. Don't know if you're hiring right now or not, but I wanted to at least, make a connection. And maybe you send a personal note to the CEO. You don't just submit a resume. Maybe you do something a little creative. And it's designed to make you stand out, okay? And then the third thing I would do is I would challenge your friend a little bit. Your friend doesn't know anybody in the lighting industry. That's correct. But your friend knows a good amount of people. And would your friend be willing to really help you by reaching out to all of their acquaintances and close friends and say, hey, do you know anybody that works at any of these 5 lighting companies that you've done research on? That can all be done prior to you moving over there, okay? And then I would make the move over there and try to find a job initially so that you don't have to touch the 3 to 6 months expenses, okay? And then you start making the connections and you use the proximity principle just like you would anywhere else because you can begin to make connections because you know what the lighting companies are. And then you learn who the people are that are making the decisions there and you work your web of connections. So you can see there's really no difference between working the proximity principle in the United States or any other country. But obviously you need to get on the ground. And so just prepare to get on the ground and I think you're going to be great.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for taking time to answer my question.
Yeah, man, you got some steps there you need to take. I gave you some homework, so do it. And I think you'll be surprised at how many things will churn for you, and then those will spit out some opportunities. Traverse City, Michigan is where we go next. Dan is on the line there. Dan, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, Ken, go Blue. How are you?
Go Blue. Oh, my goodness. Is football going to happen, Dan?
Oh, football and hockey are always happening up here. Come on, Ken.
That's a very good point. I love your positive optimism there. Dan, how can I help today?
Well, Ken, I'm in a bit of a conundrum. I am about 8 years out of college. Guys, come on. And I am contemplating a career change, but I feel like I'm constantly either stagnant or going backward. I'm actually making less in my current position than the job I took right out of college. And it just feels like I've either been going backwards or standing still ever since.
Okay. So let's talk about the positive side of things. Where do you want to go? We know you're going backwards a little bit or you feel stuck. What do you want to do? Let's talk about the future.
That's just where I'm stuck. Right now, I'm not sure exactly what I want to do.
Do you have ideas?
I have a few ideas, but I don't know how viable some of them are.
Well, let's run those through the filter, shall we? Let's look at those through the filter of your sweet spot, okay? Because being sure is kind of overrated. We'll get to sure after we're clear, all right? So what are these ideas? You got 1, 2, or 3? How many are we talking about?
Probably 3.
Okay, great. Let's go 1, 2, and 3. What's number 1?
Number 1 is I would love to get into public address announcing. I've been doing it as a volunteer for local hockey programs. And I've been told, hey, you've got a great voice. Why not try it out? But I don't know how to get into that market.
Oh, I got you there, buddy boy. I'll tell you that in a minute. But let's keep rolling. All right, what's number 2?
Number 2, hopefully Dave's not listening, but right now my current position is as a HUD-certified budget and housing coach.
Okay.
And while I enjoy the work, I just can't stand how it's being operated.
Okay.
So I've tried getting out on my own, but being in a rural area has presented its challenges. And
so
my wife is not exactly
what's the position? I'm sorry. What's the career you're talking about here?
Budget counseling.
Oh, so financial coaching.
Yep, I took the master series. My wife and I both did the master series a few years ago, and then this job opened up, and I thought that would be a match in heaven.
Okay, but you never started your own coaching on the side. You just went to this HUD position.
I'm not allowed to under my current employer.
Oh, okay, I got you. So you pressed pause because of the job. Okay, so that's an option. All right, what's the third idea?
Third one was trying to do my own thing on YouTube, and that one I did kind of start because of COVID-19 to give myself some kind of self-therapy in between meetings and clients that I currently deal with.
What would you do if I don't want you to overthink this. I want you to let your heart answer this. I want you to be in dream mode, okay?
Okay.
If you had a super successful YouTube channel, what would your thing be? What would your topic be? What kind of videos? Who are you talking to?
Vintage video gaming.
What?
Vintage video games.
Okay, help me understand. Does that mean that you're playing Pac-Man and Donkey Kong?
Yeah, like Nintendo 64, Super Mario, those kind of things.
And so you would be playing and hoping that people would watch you play?
Yeah, Twitch streaming on YouTube, and things like that.
Okay, so here's the thing, all right? I've got some good news and bad news. What do you want first?
Oh, hit me with the bad news. We can end on the positive.
Yeah, okay, good. So the bad news is none of these 3 options are going to be full-time right away or anytime soon. These are all 3 things that you're going to have to take time to build so that they spit off some decent revenue. And PA announcing is never going to be a full-time gig for you. Unless, and you know what? I'm going to actually correct myself before I even finish the thought. I'm not even sure the big-time PA announcers for pro teams, I'm not sure those are full-time. They might be more of a part-time deal. You can research that. Are they part-time, Joe? You're shaking your head. Yeah, they are. I mean, they all have other jobs. So the all 3 of these things are really fun and good. I'm sorry, I am terribly distracted by the sounds in the background.
Yeah, I am too.
It's okay. You and I are going to press through. I have ADHD. This is real time right now. I'm like being transported back into the time when I had 3 toddlers right now, and I feel like Blue's Clues might come on at any moment. Okay, here's the deal.
That's exactly where I'm at.
All right, I'm sorry. It's all good, brother. Listen. So the bad news is just that these are going to take time to spit off the kind of money you need, correct? That's the bad news.
Yeah.
But it's really not bad news. The good news is that all of these things you can take very seriously as a side hustle and be successful. So you can actually do these things. These things are not pipe dreams. I'm a little unsure about the YouTube video game channel, but that's just because I don't spend any time watching video game YouTube channels, but I do know they exist. But my point is, the good news is you can start these things. And you can do these things, okay? But before I get into the path forward, I just quickly want to ask you, if you knew, and I just told you that you can, so if you knew that you could make these things successful on a side level to begin with, could you stay in that HUD position long enough to give yourself a chance to do this and not feel stuck? If you realize, hey, I'm not stuck anymore, this HUD job is my day job, and it's allowing me to pursue the dream job.
I feel like I can.
Yeah, because here's the deal. Which of these 3 are the most important to you? If you could only have success in one of these and you had to choose, which one would you choose?
The budget counseling.
That's what I thought. So, but here's the challenge. You're in this HUD job, so you can't do it. So now the strategy becomes, can I replace my HUD job with just a day job? Doesn't have to be the dream. But it's something that I can actually do, and it replaces my income so that I can do the financial coaching on the side and then build that financial coaching business up to where eventually you step into that full time. So that's your strategy. Okay. So you can replace your HUD job, but now it's different. You realize I'm replacing it so that it frees me to do what I really want to do. And your wife got the same training, so you two could be the wonder couple, the rock star couple that's helping so many people. You guys got a great business that you eventually. That's what you do full time. So I think that's how you get to that future. That's how you step into that. Now, one last thing. You can do the public address announcing because I promised you that I would tell you how to do that. You just start volunteering to announce high school games, minor league games to be the fill-in when the other guy gets sick or whatever, and that's how you get in. And eventually you could do some public address announcing and, maybe you make an extra $5-10 grand a year on a minor league level or something like that. And it's a labor of love. You enjoy it, gives you the juice. And that's a passion as well. It's just not a full-time professional passion. 844-747-2577 is the number. Hey, real quick, for you parents out there or grandparents, you got a 13 to 19-year-old. We just launched the Foundations in Career Readiness. That's the name of the course. Simply put, it's an online teaching course. I'm teaching what I talk about here on the program. But the idea is we're teaching kids how to get hired for that first job, maybe in the summer, or a good job in high school, or coming out of college. Let's get into the workforce and get a good job so we can get the dream job, okay? And so this is a great course. All they need is a computer, a tablet, and some internet access. It's $29.99. It'll eventually go up to $89.99. This is kind of the introductory launch price. You can get it at kencoleman.com/store, kencoleman.com/store. Okay, we're going to the chat room now. Here we go. By the way, if you're watching the program, you're enjoying this, it's encouraging you, would you give us a thumbs up? Would you subscribe? Would you share the show? 3 things you can do with just one click right below the video window. All right, TY writes in, hey, Ken, I got laid off recently. Ugh. I'm sorry about that, TY. It was an entry-level job. I feel like I'm now at square one. How do I figure out the results that matter to me for my next job search? Okay, I love this. Here it is. Results that matter most is what I define as my professional mission. 3 questions that will help you. Okay? Write these down and really soak on them and get some feedback from people who know you really well. They'll help you fill in the blanks. Here it is. Number 1. Who are the people I most want to help? Think of these people. Like think of their plight, of their situation, their background. Who are the people I most want to help? Now, the second question is, what is the problem that those people have that draws me in? Is it a need? Is it a want? Doesn't always have to be a problem. Could be, I want to help people who want this, okay? So what is the need or want that those people have? Third question, what are the solutions, maybe a single solution or multiple solutions to those people's problem or need? So who are the people I want to help? The problem that they have, the need they have that I want to solve, and the solution to that problem that I most get excited about. That is an awakening exercise. And that's how you get the answers to the results that matter to you. Brendan George writes in, Ken, do you have any strategies for dealing with indecisiveness while trying to get clear? Is it as simple as taking a step in a direction, or should I first be certain about where I want to go? Yeah, I think that it's almost like boom, boom, step here, step here. So I want you to get clear, but then in the process of getting clear, I want you to take some steps forward to get more clarity. And I call this clarify and verify. Okay. So you want to walk through the exercise of what you do best. That's your talent. Think hard skills, soft skills. What you love to do most. We're thinking about a function, a task, a role that you play. Okay. And that's what you love to do most. That's passion. And then the third thing is what we just walked through with TY, mission, results that matter most. So if you're indecisive in trying to get clear, if you're indecisive on the awareness part of that exercise, which is what I just walked through, get some people to give you feedback. Walk them through the same exercise that I just walked through with you. Okay. And make sure that you are okay getting feedback. Okay. Get the feedback that you need through this process. Okay. And then act on it. So once you're clear on what your sweet spot is, and you've identified now, and then let me explain the sweet spot. When I know what I do best and what I love to do most and results that matter most, now I'm looking in the marketplace and I'm going, what are all the ways that I can use these skills to do this type of work to produce this kind of result? It's not difficult, folks. It's an arrow. The reason there's three of these things, it's almost like once I get here, I've got an arrow pointing me out in the marketplace and I'm looking for my marketplace matches. All right. And so now you see all these different opportunities to be in your sweet spot. And now we start using the proximity principle and get around people that are doing those things. Why? More clarity, and that extra clarity will verify what you want to do. 844-747-2577, 844-747-2577. One more question here in the chat room. Jeremiah writes in, how do you take a leap of faith into a self-employed job if that's your passion? Ooh. How do I want to answer this one? Don't take a leap of faith into self-employment until you have the money to land on. Okay? So I got a couple friends that in college, Joe, they almost got me there to do a bungee jump off of a bridge into a ravine.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And I almost did that one, and I chickened out. Going to be honest, chickened out. And then they almost got me to jump off of a 50-foot tower just onto a, you got the cord on, but you're landing on one of those big airbags. That one I almost did too, because I thought, well, if the cord were to snap, I'm going to land, I feel like I can hit the gigantic airbag at the bottom. I didn't do it. Here's my point. That's a leap of faith. Okay? Because here's the deal. The ravine's the bigger leap of faith, because if that cord snaps, it's over. The jumping onto the airbag, that's less faith, but still faith. I only want you making a leap of faith into self-employment, running your own show, if you've got 6 months expenses in the bank. Minimum. I prefer 6 to 12. Being an entrepreneur, folks, has a lot of traps and hurdles, and it's hard enough, okay, as it is. If you've got financial pressure and you're the only person to look at, it gets really gnarly really quickly. So, leap of faith, I guess I'm taking the faith out of the leap. I'm fine if you leap and we've got 6 to 12 months expenses in the bank and we don't have debt. We've got operating cash. That's the only leap. Then it's one of these. Yeah, this is fun. Like, that's me jumping into the pool. Now, that's fun. That's the leap I'll do, right? I'm not going to get hurt, Joe. I know I'm going to pop up and everything's going to be fine. That kind of leap, I'm down. Other than that, why? Why would you risk it? It's not necessary. I'll tell you why. Because you're not patient. That's me, okay? My biggest professional failures were always a result of me not being patient because I just want progress. You want progress. So the leap of faith is a fun little phrase in real life. If you've got faith, then you don't need to leap. Think about it. Faith is I trust in myself. I believe in God and his hand on my life and the discernment he's given me. That's what I think of. But I still have to make some good decisions. You know, I can't say, well, I believe God's going to protect me, so I'm going to jump off of a bridge today. That's not faith. That's lunacy. Okay? So let's be careful how we use faith. Because faith is walking forward one step at a time into situations where we're doing our best, we know what we know, and we're operating on that. That's faith. But jumping into the abyss with no knowledge and just, I hope it works, that's not faith. It's just straight up lunacy. So be careful. 844-747-2577 is the number. 844-747-2577. I always want to be free on this show, to be raw on behalf of you. And I had a phone call this morning with someone who I love dearly and is just going through a tough time. And I was just being the listening ear, the encouraging ear, the praying friend. And it just reminded me that while life is tremendously beautiful, life is also agonizingly painful at times. And the worst part about pain in life, the worst kind of pain rather, is the pain that we bring on ourselves. And so we were talking about someone in their life that they love dearly who's experiencing some pain. And the pain, quite frankly, is a result of not so good decisions. And there's also a tremendous amount of shame that comes with pain that we inflict on ourselves. Isn't that true? Whether it be silly pain like I got a credit card and I got $6,000 in debt or $20,000 in debt, that's painful. But there's different levels of shame. You're shamed, but you'll tell people. And then there's things that people do that are really shameful. And it's natural to feel the shame. But I want to talk to those of you who may have done something a long, long time ago or recently, and you inflicted pain on yourself and you're embarrassed and you're ashamed of yourself. You have got to get to a point where if you have received forgiveness from anybody that you hurt, that you forgive yourself. You know, it's one thing to do something that you're ashamed of and get forgiveness from others, but never forgive yourself. And that's what I want to address just for a moment. I have some dear friends that have made some moral mistakes, had some moral failures, and I will tell you at everybody that was close to them, while disappointed and hurt for them and the pain they caused others and themselves. Every time in these situations, I can tell you that true friends forgave. Forgave. Unequivocally forgave. But I'm thinking of these folks right now, and I can tell you, years and years later, they haven't forgiven themselves. They walk around and they have been living life for decades in shame. And shame is an evil, evil, evil foe. Shame, we don't talk a lot about on the show. We talk about fear, doubt, and pride, but, we need to talk about shame from time to time. Because shame is keeping some of you that are watching right now from being who you were created to be. Everybody else has forgiven you, or at least the people that matter, and you haven't forgiven yourself, and you are stuck in a cave of shame. You're not being your true self. You're not contributing what you're supposed to contribute. And I'm telling you, you need to get healing for yourself so that you can forgive yourself. The key to overcoming shame is to forgive yourself. And realize that you are not on the shelf of life. You are not done. You have not been rendered irrelevant by your bad decision. If you heal and forgive yourself, I can tell you this, the silver lining is you're going to be stronger on the other side of your shame. My hope is that for those who needed to hear this today, that you begin the process of getting healthy and forgive yourself, and you will eventually look at the wounds as though I look at this scar right here on my hand. I took about 12 stitches from a stupid decision in my backyard doing yard work, just dumb, trying to make a shortcut, and I ended up cutting my hand wide open. And I look at this scar, and it runs about 3 inches on my hand. I could see the scar right now, and I could tell you something. As I think about this and that stupid mistake, Joe, boy, it hurt. Whew, it hurt, man. I mean, it hurt bad. I remember that it hurt. But right now, Joe, when I touch the scar, I don't feel it. I don't feel any pain right now. I see the scar. Well, my hand is healed. And the scar is a reminder not to do the stupid thing I did in the backyard that cut my hand wide open. Be okay with the scars. No shame. You've learned from it. Now heal and move forward. 844-747-2577 is the number. 844-747-2577. No shame in your game. That's your motto. Let's go to Armando, who joins us in Orlando, Florida. Armando, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. How are you doing today?
Armando, I'm living the dream. What's going on?
Hey, so I work at a TV station, which I won't name on the air, and they let go of my whole department due to COVID, and I'm trying to get that energy back to and go forth with trying to apply at other television stations in the area. I did develop a side project with my girlfriend, website podcasting, all that. We're in the process of building it up, but at the same time, I do need consistent income in the meantime. I know I can't depend solely on that. I do want to stay in media. I have the proximity principle. Read it once, I might read it again.
Good.
But my question is, how do I go about meeting people when television stations might not allow in-person visits to meet somebody, to drop off a resume, to talk to somebody, to shake a hand? Because as you said on your show, I think it was last week or something, that you wouldn't apply to a place without knowing somebody.
Well,
the thing is, I want to know somebody.
Yeah, I get that. And I'm glad you brought this up because I was talking with the team about this. I would not recommend that you have a consistent strategy of just applying at places you don't know anybody. However, I do think there are times where there is an exception to that. And I want to be clear on this. If you are in a certain industry and you have very strong experience and specialty experience to where there's not 8,000 people applying for that position, and it's such a strong skill set and specific skill set that submitting a resume would actually get somebody's attention, then I would go ahead and do it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But it is always better in the long run across the board for everybody to try to find a connection. But my point is this. Let's say that there was a position open at a TV station in your area and you didn't know anybody at the station. And it was going to take you, 6-8 weeks to really try to make that connection and figure what that is and how would you do it and all that kind of stuff. And you're trying to figure it out. If you were such a special case in that your experience is higher than a lot of people that are applying for it, and it's not going to be, like I said, a ton of people applying, and you're going to stand out just by simply applying, then I'm okay with that. But what I would do is make sure that in my resume template at kencoleman.com that your who I know are that section is full of TV professionals in Orlando, so that even if it's at another station, there's a good chance when they see those names in the endorsement statements that you're going to stand out. Does that make sense?
Does that include former employees?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I've been
unless there's a black mark or a stain on them in the sense that people say, well, they're a bad person, and so we kind of ostracize them. If it's a good relationship and there's nothing negative there, then yeah, I would do that.
Okay. The point I'm a little confused with is naming somebody, even if they don't work directly at that station, that they might be known. What if that...
Well, let me explain it. So the person you're thinking of, and I'm not going to make you tell me their name, what is their position in the Orlando media market? What's their position?
They work... Well, the person who used to work at one TV station that I could think of on the top of my head, she works currently in programming at my former employer that let me go.
Right, but is she respected in her position?
Yes.
Is she so people know her in the industry there?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. That you shouldn't be confused about that. That's perfect. You want her giving you a strong endorsement statement. Doesn't matter where she used to work. You're trying to get the current media company or television station to notice you and see you as, oh, this is a really strong candidate. And Armando has got 3 or 4 really strong endorsement statements from professionals that are at other stations. They don't care. They just need to know that you can help them win. That's all they need to know. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, let me give you one other idea that I had, because you and your girlfriend, I think you said you're trying to get this podcast thing going and all these other things. You know what? If that's what you really want to do, then, you've got some transferable talent and experience from your TV career and any other jobs that you've done that could get you a really good day job, okay, and allow you to pursue the dream job on the side. So don't just, kind of, and not that you were, but I want to make sure that you're not being closed-minded on, well, I've got to go back into TV. Well, that's one option, yes, because you've got experience. But the fact of the matter is, right now, since you've been laid off, you love this idea of the podcast and other things. You'd like to monetize that. So if you want to give it a go and you want to go get a day job, that's what I did. I was selling sponsorships to live events. Let me just tell you, folks, that's a day job for me. There wasn't any passion there, but I didn't need the passion in the day job because it was allowing me to pursue the dream job. And so my eyes were, I got to do what I got to do now, but my eyes and my emotions and everything were focused on the future. So that's an option as well. My time's almost up, but before I let you go, I want you to know that you matter and you do have what it takes. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.